Just wanted to go over some altcoin reclaim setups. So how I look for trend reclaims and continuation. So here's Pendle along hourly 200 moving averages. By the way, don't ask me what this coin does. I have absolutely no idea, and I really don't care. But hourly 200s seem like a pretty relevant local trend portrayal. So now that we're reclaiming them along with demand zone confluence, I'm allowed to kind of assume that this is the reclaim, and that was the higher low to a much higher time frame kind of a trend. So the setup essentially would look something like this, where I'm buying the retest of that trend, and I'm scaling my assumptions. I'm hiding my stop loss below previous structure to then target whatever the next resistance level is. And in this case, because there's clear skies above that resistance level, I can target price discovery as well. And that's going to be where I'm making most of my money in a bull market, is targeting um, or really just honing in on coins that are threatening price discovery or trending into price discovery, and then just allowing that to continue trending for as long as it wants to trend until eventually these hourly 200s break down again. So you can find this setup quite frequently in the market. Every time the market gives a deeper pullback and all coins start to really underperform, Bitcoin's kind of stealing the show right now. You can see the same thing along something like Say is a bit obscure though, so I think this is more like a 45-minute trend, or maybe even you could call it like a 30-minute trend. It's really all your discretion. Again, just remember these are blue and green lines. They're stupid vanity. Nobody actually cares. But 30-minute 200s or maybe 45-minute 200s, you can see the same kind of setup occurring. We could have said the exact same thing back here. We could have said it back here. Obviously, this is choppy. So at some point, you want to start to refrain from using a trend trader system. So I would have told you the same thing that I'm telling you now here, except it wouldn't have worked. We would have broken right back down below the trend, maybe stopped you out. I can't imagine that you're hiding stop below that wick if you're entering your position here. But regardless, we can see that the market starts to go sideways. We want to start to respect that and, put that as the context to whatever we're approaching and trying to execute off of. So keep that in the back of the mind, right? But 30-minute 200s currently are being locally respected as a trend portrayal, and we're also flipping that demand zone. So this is kind of like that range high to a much greater range. So the idea would be that we hold this region, we can hide stop below previous structure and 30-minute 200s and that demand zone, we can bet on continuation. So just kind of looking for these kinds of setups, you can find them all over the place. I think SUI at the moment is actually pulling back into its high time frame trend. So whatever that low time frame trend is that's being used as a downtrending portrayal, we would wait for, or I mean, you could enter now and bet that we are going to reclaim that trend, right? In which case, that setup would look something along the lines of this. You're stepping in front of the high time frame train. You could bet on this structure, the most recent higher time frame structure, and then bet on continuation. The other kind of take on that would be to wait for that local trend reclaim. So in this case, maybe hourly 200 moving averages. And if we wait for those hourly 200s to get flipped into support, then we have a more probable trade to actually play out and continue uptrending now that we've already reclaimed some bullish arguments. But of course, we would imagine that our risk reward would be diminished because we're getting a worse entry. That typically is the case. So our perceived probabilities and our risk reward typically move inversely correlated to each other. So, do we want to step in front of the train and bet on the high time frame trend, or would we rather prefer to wait for that local trend reclaim and then maybe bet that we're going to continue the trend from there on all time frames?